Well, hello everyone. Megavanen Melanin, Privit, Moy Druzi, as uh, Dr. Gerdes likes to say. Welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream, coming to you live from Ukraine. My name is James. I'm an American. I live in Ukraine. And there's a lot to talk about today. It's 11:30, getting on towards midnight here in Ukraine. I can't tell you exactly where I am, but I've spent the week working in a secret drone laboratory. And tomorrow, I'm going to go and do something really cool. But I can't tell you what it is. But I will say this. Rick the Ukrainian knows what I'm doing tomorrow. So if Rick is streaming tomorrow, you should ask him what James is doing or why Ukraine is doing. Then he can tell you. But I can't tell you until afterwards. Once I'm done with it, I'll be able to tell you all. Thank you all for coming, those of you who are here, and those of you who are watching after the show. I apologize that I was not able to set up the live stream event earlier. Just crazy busy, you know. Hopefully, it looks like I'm going to be doing this for this live streaming almost every day. I'm going to be doing this for another week or two, week and a half maybe. So I will try to get better at that. I'd like to welcome everyone who's here. Shirkan, Salt of the Earth, Cheryl, Hjalmar from Sweden. It's a nice name. I like that name, Hjalmar. It wasn't me. Last White Rose, Lynn. Wonderful to see you. Frag, as always. And Greg, so Greg is in our chat, Greg Huey here, and he is a volunteer in Ukraine. I hope it's okay if I say that. And he's going through the process, which I had to go through as well, of getting a visa. Being an immigrant in the country. As an American, it's difficult for me as an American to think of myself as an immigrant. Immigrants are people who come to America. Like, I can't be an immigrant. I'm an American. I know that sounds like a ridiculous statement to make, but it's something I had to wrap my brain around, So here I'm sorry I don't have a particularly spectacular background. I'm literally staying with some friends while I do this volunteering work. They're very nice to let me sleep on their fold-out sofa. So, nothing fancy here. As one of my friends said, talking about my channel, I believe she said, well, it's not overproduced. So Greg, I've been through all the stuff that you're going through for getting your visa D for Ukraine. And although I got my first visa, I got in Turkey, and but I scheduled it beforehand. And the nice thing is, so in Turkey, at least, I didn't have to go to so I paid extra money to go to a passport processing center. These are like private passport processing centers in Istanbul. And so I didn't need to make an appointment. It took 3 days for me to get my visa, and then I applied for a resident permit after that. So that's a thing to keep in mind. So your visa D, I believe, is for 90 days, and then you need to apply for a long-term resident permit, and you can get that for up to a year, and that it's worth doing that. I would say. Now, I haven't done it in Warsaw, but I understand that that's the most popular place, which is why I deliberately chose not to do it there. Instead, I went to Slovakia the second time. But now the other thing is, once you get your visa here in Ukraine, then as long as you apply for your residence permit within 90 days, you don't have to keep leaving the country every damn time after that. So this will be the last time that you have to leave, basically, essentially. And the other question, Greg, I wanted to ask you about is, what did you do with all your 3D printers and stuff? Well, you can message me privately about that. I hope everything is safe here in Ukraine. So, Cheryl says, I guess she's talking to you, Greg. Are you eating the dogs and cats in Warsaw? That's a good one, Cheryl. Of course, that's what all immigrants do when they come to a new country. Anyway, yes, привет, Greg. The topic of our live stream today is how Ukraine can win. And I hope I have enough caffeine in my bloodstream, or enough blood in my caffeine stream, to talk about it, because it's tough to work all day and stay up till midnight and talk about these things. But let's flip back to our the discussion at hand, I guess. And this law, so one big thing, unfortunately, that has been holding Ukraine back for a long time, not just this war, is a lack of foreign investment. And it may seem crazy to talk about a lack of foreign investment, because now there's all this billions of dollars pouring into Ukraine, and of course, the argument is made that yes, that is in fact an investment. So you've got civilian money and defense money and all of that pouring into Ukraine. But I would argue that it's not organic investment. Hey, Paul, thanks for coming. Stolen question. Is that like stolen valor? Cheryl, you are just racking out the bangers today with the jokes, man. It's great. You must have had some coffee. Yeah, Greg, and so Greg says, I'm going to take this time to make sure all is in order and there's no need for a second appointment. Yeah, and I had to go through this process too, and it was really hard for me. Starting in I lived here for a year, basically illegally, essentially, in 2020. Nobody bothered me about it, but then, when I decided to take care of it, I had to I had to pay a fine. It was 5,000 hryvnias, which is like $180. I almost made it out of the country without having to pay. Like they didn't notice because of the way my passport was stamped. So it used to be that you could leave Ukraine, and if you, let's say you can stay here 90 days legally, and oh, okay, Greg, thanks for mentioning. No, it used to be that you could leave Ukraine for I'm sorry, you could stay in Ukraine for like 89 days. Okay, so you're only allowed to be here for 90 days without a visa as an American, but you could stay here for 89 days and then leave Ukraine, go to like Warsaw or freaking some bordering nation, get your passport stamped, and then turn right back around, and they would check your passport and see, oh well, he they wouldn't count the days correctly, basically. And they didn't have a way of accurately counting the days, like, or something like that. They didn't have computer systems that were capable of doing it. And unfortunately, after 2014, the United States saw fit to give Ukraine passport scanning machines and data something blah 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 stuff to make their immigration systems more efficient. And since that time, that little trick doesn't work anymore. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. So it wasn't me. It says, James, I heard that there is a new law that allows foreigners in the International Legion to become officers. I thought of you when I heard it. It is my understanding that that is the law that they have passed. So yeah, I think, and not just in the International Legion, but all foreigners are allowed now to potentially allowed to become officers. So that is my understanding. I haven't looked up the exact details or read the exact law. I just read the news article. Okay. Oh, good. Great. So they're safe. Okay. Yeah. Cause yeah. Oh yeah. Talking about me, I'm more of a technical specialist. It's unlikely being an officer is on his list of interests. I don't know. I mean, whatever they want me to do, they hand me a shovel, I'll be the shovel officer. I don't know, whatever, as long as I'm helping Ukraine, it's fine. So let's talk about this this subject here. This lifting the drone export ban. If this happens, I mean, I think it needs to be done carefully. All right, that's what I would say about it. It needs to be done carefully. Oh gosh, Greg, when I left Kiev, I thought I'd be back today or tomorrow. Oh, that's why the dogs and cats. Yeah, shit. Yeah, it's not like you can 3D print them some dog food, so you're lucky there. Yeah, when I left Kiev, when the war started, I left all my fish, 17 fish I had. And when I came back, they were all still alive, amazingly enough. But they ate all my plants, all my aquarium plants. Pretty wild. In any case, this law, if it's passed, if it's done correctly, see this. Ukraine may lift a drone export ban to boost production. Okay, I think they need to be careful about what kind of drones are allowed to be exported. You don't want Ukraine to be making drones that Russia buys and sends back to Ukraine. Okay, that would be bad. But there's plenty of drones that you could say arguably have a dual use purpose, or could have a dual use purpose. I don't know if it's a positive effect or not. Yeah, Anna, Austria is threatening not to allow shipments to Ukraine over Ukraine policies on oil. I think that Ukraine has to hammer down on the oil thing, and I also have an article about that here that's on my list to talk about, and not just Austria, Anna, Slovakia is getting all, how can they? It's like, how can they? Like countries like Slovakia and Hungary, and now Austria, now that they've got the far right in power there, how can they say, we're not going to support Ukraine? Oh, but we want the oil. We want Ukraine to keep sending us oil. Like, don't ask. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the article I was looking for. Oh no, that's okay. That's related but different. Damn. No, not that one either. Well, anyway, the point is, yeah. So, like, don't bite the hand that's feeding you oil. You know what I mean? Yeah, Greg, I had that fear too. Greg says, my greatest fear is that some minor thing will be wrong with the application and they might make me get a new appointment. Yeah, I've been through that process like 2-3 times now, and everything went smooth. We have certain advantages as Americans. That's what I would say about it. They're once they see, like, they're like, oh, an American? Wow, let's they I think you'll be fine. I hope. But I think you'll be fine. I totally understand your fear, though. I had the same. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, Ukraine has to throw down the hammer with regards to the oil. It's shocking that Ukraine has even continued to send oil this whole entire time. I should bring up the article now. Ukraine oil, Austria. Let's see. Urgently seeks to cut ties. Yeah, I mean, this is still going on. Interesting. Well, so, I mean, just like, this is interesting, how the EU could use Ukraine's pipelines when the Russia deal ends. So this is a really interesting thing right here. And this is probably what is going to end up happening. So Azerbaijan, somehow, I'm not sure how these oil pipelines are connected, but the oil is going to come from somewhere. It's just like, the thing about it is, like, Ukraine is going to be a freaking powerhouse before this war ends. Already, that's the case. All of these countries that have turned their backs on Ukraine, Austria, Hungary, and Slovakia in particular. Greg, military officers. But so all these countries that and now they have to come begging. They're, they better get in line. And frankly, I don't think that Austria, Hungary, or Slovakia ultimately will have the power to block aid to Ukraine for any real substantial amount of time. Thanks for coming, Ken, by the way. Yeah, Hungary, Austria, and Slovakia have had enough time to find other sources for importing oil. It's absurd that Ukraine is allowed to transfer it all. Exactly. And more importantly, maybe if they had continued supporting, maybe if they had supported Ukraine in the way that they should have been, maybe Ukraine would have a different opinion. But, don't shit where you eat, Let this be a lesson to those guys. So this, the subject here today is how Ukraine can win. And I think that the foreign aid, which really is foreign investment, and many countries have talked about that, coming from the EU, coming from the United States, coming from Japan, coming from Korea, these are all very important things. But this law, if it passes and if they implement it in the correct way, can be much more powerful and much more sustainable. It doesn't mean that it would in any way replace the aid coming from the governments, okay? But this would open up private sector investment, because what's happening now is there's a bajillion freaking little tiny ass drone companies all developing their own little things, all these little startup companies, hundreds, maybe thousands of them. Okay. But they're all going, how do we get investment? We need to scale. This is the thing. So Russia, if they want to scale, the government just takes some of that oil money and throws it into a giant factory, and they build 1,000 Shahid copies. Okay. Ukraine doesn't have the money to do that. So this technology that Ukraine is developing and testing, rapidly deploying, okay, is going to be incredibly valuable to not just defense companies, but private companies. There's going to be ways to find civilian uses for a lot of this stuff. So funny. I can't give you the exact details, but I've been working at this company this week that's developing anti-drone. They build drones, which I can show you one here. I can actually show you this. Here you go. This is one of the drones that I was working on this week. Yeah. There's nothing particularly top secret about this. Okay, but now you can see one. I borrowed this. Oh, imagine just like walking into a drone laboratory and saying, "Hey, can I borrow a drone I just need it for tomorrow." That's, we were talking yesterday about secrecy. That was the subject. Not yesterday, 2 days ago. About secrecy in Ukraine and how Greg, we're talking about your thing. Yeah, Greg. There was a couple of minor issues, and they actually helped me at the embassy in Slovakia. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, so this company, they don't just make drones; they also make anti-drone protection devices, which I don't want to give away too much. about what they are or how they work or anything like that. But I will say that, so they have a bunch of 3D printers, and they've been printing out components for this. And how do I say this? So they had these major, like big parts of this worth big 3D printed pieces. And 3D printing, it's great for prototyping, okay? But it's extraordinarily inefficient when you need to do it at scale, okay? The problem is that the other thing to do, and yeah, I agree about monopolies, but yeah, Ukraine it's like, as far Ukraine is so far from I mean, there are state monopolies and things, but like one of the reasons why Ukraine has the much better internet than the United States or anywhere in Europe is because there's so many internet companies. There's no way there's going to be any monopolies for a long time, and hopefully when the war is over, they'll be able to implement laws to prevent those kind of monopolies. And right now with the drone stuff, I mean, there's, like I said, hundreds, thousands of companies. It will take years, maybe decades, for monopolies to begin to develop here. Yeah, it wasn't me. He said that Ukraine is only operating 1/3 of their drone production capabilities because they can't afford more. Exactly. This is what I'm talking about, right? We need an outside foreign private investment to come in here and say, hey, we see a civilian use for this gadget here. Here, let me go back to the article. Yeah, we see a civilian private use for this gadget here, or this drone here, this technology you've got going here. So let us give your private company $1 million, $100 million, so you can start. And yeah, and exporting can be funding itself besides the foreign investment. Thank you, Mitch. And this is exactly the point I was trying to make. So they have their 3D printing stuff, but it's difficult to do 3D printing at scale. The next step when we're talking about plastics is injection molding. Injection molding, if you don't know, is how most of the plastics that you see, that you interact with on a daily basis, are injection molded, and they're made with big giant freaking machines that are like, the size of a car maybe, or a truck, and of course China, Taiwan, Japan invested heavily in these in the 1970s or 80s, and China, I guess maybe in the 1990s and early 2000s. So they're able to churn out thousands of these, but Ukraine doesn't and won't have that capacity anytime soon. So this is a situation where being able to get some foreign investment can help. So yeah, Keith, a lot of it can be cross-purposed for farming. Perfect example. It's exactly what I'm talking about. So the interesting thing is that one of the guys in this this outfit, and it's a startup, but they're working with the military. This is super common here. Like every unit has its own like private company doing R&D. It's really very interesting, and the relationship between them and the army, I can't say that I fully understand how it all works. Anyway, the point is, they figured out that they could replace some of the largest of their 3D parts with injection molded off the shelf plastic pieces, and I can't tell you exactly what these pieces are, like you would buy from Walmart. Okay. Like, I don't know. Here's sitting next to me here. I have a plastic hair clip, like you would buy at a woman's beauty store. You could buy at Walmart or something like that. So just imagine that here before you were 3D printing this stuff and it takes like 2 days to make one. And all of a sudden you realize, hey, we could just go and buy like 100 of these at frickin' Walmart, and this is all we need, So that kind of innovation and inventiveness, they're just repurposing. This is not the actual part, the actual part that they bought from, like the Ukrainian equivalent to Walmart. It's not a woman's hair clip, but it is a plastic piece, something like this that they were 3D printing before. And now they're like, oh, well, that bridges the gap for us between the scale of 3D printers and these injection molding machines. So that kind of innovation that Ukraine has, and now combine that with now they can export these things. And I would just like to say this, okay? We are living in a new reality with these drones, okay? This drone that I'm holding in my hand right now can be built by almost anyone. I spent a week building these, and I learned how to do it in a day. I spent a week building these, and now I know how. I can get a list of components. You could get a list of pieces and just build it at home, okay? And build maybe one every half an hour or 20 minutes, all right? And attach some sort of an IED explosive device to this. You in America could do this, and this thing has a range of however many miles, okay? Think about the reality of that. Forget about AR-15s. People are up in arms about freaking guns. What happens when every crazy guy in the freaking, on the internet figures out that, oh, you don't like some local politician? You don't like the presidential candidate that's in your area? You don't like your neighbor that lives, I don't know, 2 kilometers down the road? Build a drone and hit him with a drone. I'm Max. Thank you for coming, by the way. What's the cost? So the cost to build one of these drones, anywhere from like 200 and the lowest cost I've been looking at is $268 for the cheapest of cheap drones. That are military grade. $500 is more accurate. So that's cheaper than an AR-15. Okay? Think about the world that we're living in now, when anybody can do that. Now, think about the presidential motorcade. Does it have drone warfare protection? Does it have drone jammers? What about your local governor, mayor, ex whatever politician? Any crazy guy could learn to fly a freaking drone. And I'm not talking about in Ukraine. I'm talking about in America or any other country, freaking Brazil, whatever. Okay. So yeah, Ukraine is developing these drones, but they're also developing anti-drone protection systems. So I'm Max. I wasn't going to go there. Yeah. But these are things this is the new reality we live in. James, the thing with these parts is ingenious, but why can't Ukraine keep it secret? We all know that Russia will copy it soon now. Yeah, of course. Why? Because you have to physically fly the drone into Russian territory, and it only 1 out of every 4 or 5 drones is a successful kill or a successful has a successful mission. Okay, the rest of them get shot down, get taken down by drone warfare, or they just plain miss, or something goes wrong with them. And so, if you go out into no man's land between the lines, you're bound to, if you don't hit a mine, you'll hit a drone out there. And so the answer to your question, it wasn't me, is that just in the same way that Ukraine recently got the quote unquote stealth drone from Russia that Russia shot down, and it landed in Ukrainian territory. And now all of Russia's quote unquote secrets, Ukraine's going to know them. And the same, it will just go back and forth and back and forth. So this like anti-drone protection systems are going to be more important, just as important. So this technology that Ukraine is developing, not only the drones, but the anti-drone stuff, every government, every diplomat, in every country in the world is going to want these things. And I mean soon, like within the next year. And Cheryl, yes, I have seen the Chinese drone swarms. Now, I've seen plenty of drone swarms. Okay, now this is something that I'm actively working on. So drone swarm. All right, so let's just look at pictures of drone swarms. Okay. This is all like, yeah, this is from the Army. So the Army is actively looking into it too. This is a bunch of AI crap. That's what I'm looking for. So this is the kind of thing that think of each of these, the red and the green here. Army researchers envision a hierarchical control for ground vehicle and air vehicle coordination. So this is air vehicles and ground vehicles, and they're all drones. Okay. So that's the kind of and Cheryl, Kellen Robertson's Hunted in Kherson. I watched it today, and he had a second part too. So now the deal with these drone swarms becomes electronic warfare can then interfere. Ninjacom drones have been around since the Obama regime. While I do agree that they will dominate, it will be in another decade, not a year. I hope you're right. To be honest, I hope you're right, but I don't. I don't know. Okay. So let's see. Drone swarm, July 4th. Let's see if we can find. Yeah. So this is more the kind of stuff when we're talking about drone swarms. We're talking about drone swarms that literally like paint pictures in the sky. Okay. Now the problem with this, it's great. They're coordinated through like a mesh network. So this is talking about what you were referencing, Cheryl, about Chinese drone swarms. As soon as you hit this stuff with electronic warfare, now all of a sudden these drones, what the heck? Did I just click on a video? I guess we're watching video now. Look, it's a real life drone swarm. The problem is, as soon as you hit these with electronic warfare, and interference, now these drones can't communicate with each other or with the mothership or the base, essentially. I don't know why anybody would want to do this for the 4th of July. This is freaking scary to me. Like, like people just, but this is the future. And NinjaCom, I hope that you're right about drones. I hope drones never dominate, to be honest. But I'll say this, when they do, I want to be the one who turns them off. I want to be the one who pulls the goddamn plug on the whole deal. That's my motivation. But for right now, it's kind of like, yeah, you know what? We need to think about climate change and global warming. But right now, the most important thing is to get more oil. Drill, baby, drill, ironically. Frag, I mean, EMPs will be a thing. EMPs are very much a thing. They're very much a thing. And out here, the stuff I'm talking about with anti-drone warfare stuff, it is basically EMPs. It's exactly what I have videos of children using EMPs here. I can show you on my website. On my YouTube channel. Give me a second here. Yeah, here we go. Here's a kid. This is from my drone class. His kid's shooting down drones with an EMP. There you go. So they are very much a thing. So yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, guys. So the point is, this is one reason why I am joining the drone force. Because given with my background, not just in what you see here, like see that antenna right there with all this shit coming off it, that's where I live and breathe. Okay. But also I have some experience in startups and in Silicon Valley. And what I hope to be able to do is the future is our reality today. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't me. I'm sorry. The video that I showed you was not of Chinese drone swarms. I just looked up drone swarms, and it happened to be actually a 4th of July drone swarm in, I think it was Dodger Stadium or something. It was not in China. Let's see, where is this? Let's see. It's not, it's Memorial Day or 4th of July. Where? I don't see, but it's Sky Elements drone shows. So let's take a look at these guys. This is in America. This is an American drone company. Sky Elements drone shows. Where are they? Give us a call. Fort Worth, Texas. There you go. So, sorry for the confusion. Yeah, Ninja. This is what I'm talking about. It's funny to think that if drones were used for a certain attempt in recent events, it would have worked. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly correct. Okay. I hate to. Well, come on. So imagine if in this particular situation, it just turns my stomach. But imagine if it had not been an AR-15. Imagine if it had been a drone. We'd be having a very different conversation right now. And we're not very far away from that. And I guarantee you, it's highly unlikely, given our current detection abilities, that the person who had flown that drone would have ever been found. Now, Ukraine has technology to find but I guarantee you, U.S. Secret Service doesn't. But there's probably 10 startups here in Ukraine who could pinpoint that person. And the first time that some politician somewhere in the world gets assassinated by drone, everybody's going to be coming to Ukraine saying, help me, help me. And that's why this is such an important thing. You know, javelin. Oops. Okay, guys. We don't need fantasies here too much. Ninja. It would have been a tremendous success. Gosh. Oh, you guys, too much. It wasn't me. It's okay. I already thought I'm too stupid to understand something important here. Oh, man. You guys are hilarious. Making me laugh today. Guys, I got to tell you, this is going to be a short stream today because, first of all, I'm trying to stream every day or almost every day. I had food poisoning yesterday. That's why I didn't stream. And I'm still feeling it. Oh my God. It was rough. Bad chicken. Mitch says, I still say a drone to go get the next beer is where the market is. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Amazon couldn't do it. But, imagine, guess what? You know what? If they can drop freaking grenades, they can drop beers. Ninja, be careful. You don't want the Kyle gas treatment. Oh, my gosh. Oh, okay. Anyway, guys, this is the main thing that I just wanted to talk about today. I felt like it was pretty important, and a pretty important step and a very positive step for Ukraine. This is how when I say like how Ukraine will win, this is how is through organic investment, not just organic sustainable investment, not just quote unquote handouts where governments, this will be more sustainable, more continuous. It'll start smaller, but it'll grow, and it'll grow fast. Wow, my friend used to work for Egyptian Dr. al-Zawahiri, number 2 of Al-Qaeda, who was killed by a switchblade drone in Afghanistan. Ran an Afghan. Wow. Huh. Yeah. Thank you. It wasn't me. We like to make you laugh. Being in Ukraine is tough. You need a good laugh from time to time. Thank you very much. There's a lot of news I really want to talk about other than this. But I think I'm just going to have to save it for the weekend. There's just a couple more. So just in case you didn't think that Trump was anti-Ukraine, remember that Trump has met with Orban, and we now know he's had 7 phone calls with Vladimir Putin and secretly sent him COVID tests and all that jazz. So Hungary is going to try to stop You remember there's frozen, like $300 billion worth of frozen, oh my God, frozen assets. Ukraine is getting, there's like a loan program whereby Ukraine gets a smaller amount of that money, but the assets are like the guarantee, the collateral. And Hungary now is trying to hold that loan from going through, okay, until after the US election. And why? Okay, so a $50 billion G7 loan, or maybe this is a different loan. Oh, is this a different loan and I misunderstood? I don't think so. Okay, so the deal is Washington needs the EU to revise its time frame for the renewal of sanctions to every 3 years from what it has set it at 6 months. Now, why did Trump have all those documents in his toilet? I think they were for Skibbity, Cheryl. That's what I... Don't Google Skibbity toilet, okay, please. Oh yeah, actually, ATP Geopolitics frag did a whole thing about Orban, the Orban roast in the EU Parliament. It was great. Yeah, no, I think that Trump has a. This is how he, and most of his conversations with Putin, I think, actually occur on the toilet through Skibbity. Yeah, let's see. Ninja, Amazon has had drones for years. The reason why they are not used large scale is because of noise complaints from rich neighborhoods. Yeah, so there's been developments recently. MIT and there's a company called Zipline. So Zipline drone propeller. And they have these weird new kind of drone propellers that are they're weird. And they reduce the noise levels. There's some loss of efficiency, but they reduce the noise levels. Also, the toroidal propellers do the same thing. So Zipline is specifically Zipline is a drone delivery startup company, and they designed this for exactly that reason. Where was I going? Oh yeah, Hungary. Okay, trying to explain this situation. I mean, basically, Hungary's trying to prevent the vote on the renewal of sanctions. So the renewal of sanctions is every 6 months right now. Washington wants to make it every 3 years. Sanctions on Russia. And Hungary's trying to stop that until after the election, because they believe that Trump will throw Ukraine under the bus, and then this whole 6 months or 3 years will just be a moot point, because Trump will do everything he can to remove all sanctions against Russia, regardless. So just in case if you've been thinking about, well, we don't know what Trump's going to do, Orban knows, because he's been talking to Trump. He knows what Trump's going to do. So don't go lying to yourself, and don't let anyone continue to lie to themselves. You know? Anyway, so this is a real positive development, guys. And I hope that I will get to be involved in it. And I think it's important for me personally not to just be like some guy with a YouTube channel or even working for like an IT company here, or even working for a drone company here. I don't want to do that. I want to be within the Ukrainian drone force when this happens, when this starts to happen, because I think that will be where I can be the most effective. So I guess that's all I had to say today, guys. That's all I wanted to cover. I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow and over the weekend. I'm going to try and do one every day this weekend and this week. And yeah, so look for that, and we'll have more to talk about. I sound like Mr. Rogers now. Keith, thank you for asking. Orders are going to be going out next week for people who bought stuff like 3 weeks ago or more. I've just, being sick really fucked me up. Really, really fucked me up. I was flat on my back, couldn't do anything. And then I immediately turned around, and because I had this invitation to come here and volunteer at this drone company here, and I wasn't going to say no to that. So that, you know what I mean? But yeah, next week, orders will be going out. Thank you for asking. Anyway, guys, do побачення. And Silver Earth, thank you for asking. So Silver Earth, by the way, I thought I should just mention, I messaged you about this. Silver Earth purchased a big portion of the, okay, I guess I should, before I go, I should talk about this stuff. So Silver Earth purchased a bunch of stuff on here. Thank you so much. And in honor of your niece, right, who was just born. Beautiful name, by the way, for her. And I will, when I get back home over the weekend, I will have that stuff shipped and ordered. So, yeah. So, Slava Ukraine, everybody. Do побачення. See you tomorrow. And have a great